I am so tired. Hello, citizens of Stinktopia. So good having you stink up the place. As you can tell, I moved. um, yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. Don't have a roommate right now, so that's fun. So my life has been incredibly boring, and I've been laying in this bed watching TV, which I left on because I don't know. I don't think recording this video is going to take too long, and I was watching Young Justice, okay? I had my priorities set. That's not what this video is about today. Today, I have a couple announcements, actually. Actually, I only have one. My one and only announcement is that I don't know what the upload schedule is going to be like because I'm starting school Tuesday of this week, which is either today or tomorrow when this comes out, because I don't know when I'm going to be editing this. So I don't know what that's going to be like. Bear with me, I guess. But anyways, that's it for updates. Let's get into what this video is actually about today. Movies, they come out all the time, and that's going to be the most profound thing I've ever said. But you know what? They get really tiring, especially if it's kind of in the same vein of the topic, just over and over and over again. Especially superhero movies. Now, I like a superhero movie just as much as the next girl. Maybe a little less. Especially because I don't love Marvel a lot anymore. I really like the X-Men. That's like what really got me into superheroes. Hugh Jackman was my first person crush that wasn't an evil animated woman. Or Linda Cardellini in Scooby-Doo. Or Sarah Michelle Gellar. Dude, that live action Scooby-Doo movie really did something to my psyche. Your kids, women aren't born queer. They watch the live action Scooby-Doo movies and see Linda Cardellini and Sarah Michelle Gellar. I don't know what to tell you. To my point of Marvel, I am kind of caught up. Saying that is a stretch and a lie. I haven't seen Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man 3, maybe another movie that has come out, I'm not sure. The latest one I saw was Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which also had Linda Cardellini in it. She was the otter. Oh my god. This video just is going to become about Linda Cardellini. And I haven't seen almost any of the Disney Plus shows, discluding Hawkeye, because Haley Steinfeld. Also, Linda Cardellini is in that. But I've seen Hawkeye and WandaVision. But I saw that one a lot later after it was released. I watched the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I said, I'm okay. Other than that, I have not seen a drop of any of the shows. The DCEU, though, that I am caught up on. Besides Blue Beetle, it came out around when I was prepping to move, and it was just too close, and I'll probably watch it once it's on streaming, but I just didn't have the means or will to go to theaters to see it. I did sadly see Flash in theaters, and I think Sasha Callie, I don't know if that's how you pronounce her last name, but she was a hot Supergirl. So that kind of made the movie worth it. But I heard that Blue Beetle was okay. I watched Amanda the Jedi. I really like their content. movie girl to movie girl. But I watched her latest video on Blue Beetle, which kind of became like a Blue Beetle and Flash thing. She made a lot of comparisons to how if they kind of went in the direction of Batman Beyond, the movie could have been a little bit better, which I guess I can make a comment on once I see the movie. But I do think they should put Batman Beyond into some live action stuff, even if it's not Batman Beyond itself. Although I think they should, because they should. I don't need a reason, okay? I think if they make that suit live action, they could do a really good job. But maybe not. But personally, I am genuinely kind of just more of a fan of DC's animated stuff. Like I said, Batman Beyond, really great. I don't really think I've heard a person say who's watched it and been like, it's horrible. I think it gained a pretty good cult following, I would say. I don't know if it'd be a cult following, but... And as I said in the beginning, I've been watching Young Justice for the first time, which I do think is a little confusing at times, because they do, especially between season 1 and season 2, they do that 5-year time skip, and then I think they also do another time skip between 3 and 4 once the company switches over from it being like DC studio stuff to move over to HBO Max. And then I think once HBO Max partnered with Discovery, it got like silently canceled from what I know. Maybe not, but I think if you don't have background knowledge on some things that are happening, it makes the show really confusing, because stuff just kind of happens and then in the time skip, and then you're kind of just expected to know what happened in the time skip, and you're like, okay, great, thanks. Thankfully, I do have like a little bit of knowledge, but not extensively, because comics are something that scares me. I really do like DC, and that is something I'm slightly embarrassed to say, because they don't have a great track record with movies, but I really do like DC, and a lot of it interests me, but I feel like I'm getting into comics too late, and it's just like, it's very overwhelming for me, you know? When it comes to the blockbuster side, I meant to grab the collar of my shirt, but I was just yanking on my necklaces. That's why they're there. That sounded wrong. I've just started to care less and less about the movies, you know, the cinematic experiences, because it's just too much, especially on Marvel's side. It is overwhelming, and I don't feel like watching it. And I also personally feel that some of the stories that they're trying to push out are just rehashed, overdone, kind of telling the same base story with different characters, and for trying to format it a different way, but it's kind of just the same thing over and over again, which isn't enjoyable to watch. And not to mention, these companies are extremely unfair to their VFX studios that they work with. Like, nothing is really fair for them, and my heart goes out to VXF studios and people who do that. You are saints, especially if you work for Marvel or DC. Like, that is crazy. And then all they do is get shit on all the time online, but also they are pushed to extremes. Their deadlines are insane, and they're not given enough time to give a product that actually looks good minute 1 to minute whatever that the movie is. It's not fair for these people, because they're just not given time to do what they're good at. It is their professional job to make these visual effects, and they are not given the time in the day to actually do what they're good at. So it's not fair to them at all. Going on to a point I mentioned a couple sentences ago about overdone stories, there are thousands upon thousands of comics that you can source material from, yet stories are just repeated. And I'll say, not all comic storylines are good, but realistically, how many times can we repeat the same story over and over again, especially an origin story? Like, I did not need 3 separate Spider-Man origin stories. Do I think Spider-Man is a fine character? Yeah, I really liked Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. I grew up on that. And then I also really liked Andrew Garfield. I have my qualms about Tom Holland. Personally, I didn't need it 3 times over, you know? And I get it, it was slightly different each time. I don't care. Even now with the multiverse concept, which I think is vaguely interesting and could be done really well, I don't like it now. It is horribly overdone and just isn't done interesting enough. But also, it's now just becoming like this, especially with DC, with the new Flash movie. Well, I guess it's not new anymore, but with the Flash movie, it became a cop-out to just reboot their cinematic universe. Which, sure, yeah, whatever, you can do what you want, but was that really the way that we had to do that? Like, I don't know, just they didn't create it, but introducing a topic like the multiverse just to say everything we've done is irrelevant, we're rebooting the universe because of the multiverse and just starting it over. Okay, cop out, like, alright. One thing I really liked about the Batman was that, yes, it was technically a reboot, but it didn't feel like that. The story felt different from what we normally get. It was just a standalone film I got to go to the theater and watch. I didn't need to know extensive other stories and movies or shows. I just got to go to the theater with my family, watch the Batman, watch Edward Cullen. That movie, though, I am upset seeing them set up Joker to be like the villain for future films, which I get why Joker is the most prominent Batman villain, but personally, I'm tired of Joker. I don't care. I think Joker peaked at Lego Batman Joker. That's my Joker. And I don't care what anyone else says. That's my Joker. Genuinely, Lego Batman is a very good installment, and I love it so much. And that Joker, amazing. I think Joker is very, very overdone. There are so many other villains that can be used. And do I think that they could set up Joker really, really well and have a good Joker story? Yes. But am I on the fence about it? Yeah, because I'm just tired of seeing that story played out. If they do an interesting take on it and, do it well, then I am going to put my foot in my mouth and say, I was wrong, like, I'll be the first to say it, But it's not, like, getting me hyped for, like, next villain showdown. Like, I just personally don't care about Joker. Okay? Sue me. I also don't think he's utilized the best sometimes. That's just personally me, but I understand that these films need to be digestible for a wider audience now because it has become such prevalence in pop culture, and even if you don't really like superheroes or know a lot about the lore and canon and everything, people still go see those movies because they're popular, they don't want to miss out on it. And, it needs to be digestible for those type of people who maybe don't know a lot about the universe or the characters or whatever. But there has become such an influx of superhero movies that personally I think that if I didn't really like grow up watching these movies and then continued in my teenage and now I guess I'm still technically a teenager, but in my early adulthood, that if I was just like a run of the mill person who wasn't really interested in this and then just never really got into it, now would not be the time I wanted to get into it, because there's so many, I wouldn't know where to start, and then it feels like you have to watch all of it, which I get. Great business model. And I have a part about that later in my script, so I'm not going to talk on that now, but I just feel like it would be super overwhelming as someone now coming into this with little to no knowledge, because there is just so much that you have to get through and understand just to watch some movies. So, are they more digestible for a common audience? Yes, but there has become so much of this that reasonably is not digestible. And I'm sure many of these people have seen a couple of these films, and it's kind of just they see it as the same story, just delivered differently and through different characters. Because sometimes I even feel that way. I'm like, did we really need another movie proving this point? Also, these studios want to keep one-upping themselves, make themselves like more of a force to be reckoned with, force people to come out and see the movies. But while they're trying to do this, they are just putting out subpar movies, which even if they put out an amazing movie, people are still going to be relatively hesitant to go see the film because they're like, wow, they just put out like 2 bad movies in a row. Is this one going to just be the third, or is it actually going to be good? You know, you saw that kind of with Marvel, from what I heard, because while I was at school, I wasn't really going to the movies, and then I had no interest in just sitting alone in my dorm watching a Marvel movie. There was Wakanda Forever, which was, I heard was really good, but then there was Thor Love and Thunder. Actually, I think Thor Love and Thunder came out before, but there was Thor Love and Thunder, which was not amazing, pretty campy, may I say, but not a great film by any means. I also have an anecdote about Taika Waititi. One time I had a dream he was breaking into my house. And it's not even like the house I was living in. It was my dad's old house, and Taika Waititi was trying to break into my house. So I have some underlying trauma, I guess, with him. Made that movie hard to digest. So there was that, and then there was Wakanda Forever, but then there was also, was there another one that came out after that? That wasn't Ant-Man 3, because I know Ant-Man 3 did not get good reviews. I haven't seen it, but it was that time of like, they're putting out bad films, but they have this one good film, but then is their next movie just going to be bad again, you know? Which is kind of just what we're living in now, is will their next film they put out be actually good, or is it just going to be subpar, mediocre, time filler, they want money? How do we fix this? I think superhero movies need to come out less, along with the shows, just so studios can actually produce something that is good. They don't have to rush to meet a deadline, and they can fully flesh it out and produce a full, good product that everyone around the board is happy with and is good. Because I think that is the major issue. It is too rushed. They're trying to put out too much, and 90% of it just becomes lackluster, subpar, mediocre, while the other 10 is good and then pretty good. I think if just more time was spent on these projects, better films would come out of it, if they weren't trying to just constantly have a flow of superhero movies and shows be pushed out at all times and burned into your eyes. I also think there should be more of a focus on stories that have not really been told yet, because I think that would just bring more interest into it. Yes, sure, that would maybe make people more standoffish to go out and see it if it's not an established character they know, not an established story they know. But if you do enough of those in succession and they get good reviews, then I think it would push a really good name onto these newer storylines, newer characters, and I just be better for everybody. I'm also the type of person who doesn't think everything has to be intertwined. I know that is kind of an unpopular opinion, but I don't feel that way. I think there can be standalone films. I don't think that characters and storylines have to intertwine with each other and then in the end become this big whole thing where they all come together and join hands. I don't think that needs to be happening. Should it happen sometimes? Yes. But I don't think every single story has to be like that. While a team up moment is fun sometimes, I just want to watch a movie and not feel like I have to watch 6 other movies just to understand the cast of main characters for it. Sometimes I just want to go to the theater and sit down and watch a movie and not need to know extensive background that already happened in other movies, not even about that character, or have to buy into a streaming service just to understand something, or watch that show on that streaming service even if I have it. I know for a business look on this, my idea's not good, not amazing. It's not a good model to follow if you're wanting a cash grab, because I know the more you intertwine these stories, there is more of a push to get people to watch all of these movies, watch all these shows, stay subscribed to your subscription service. So I can see why that is very good for business. But personally, it is tiring for me. This is selfish me speaking, and I'm always selfish when it comes to this type of stuff. But I never said I was a good businesswoman, and nor did I ever say I was even good in business or a businesswoman. I have nothing to do with business. That's not my business. I think that if any person from any studio is listening in right now, stop rushing movies. Stop rushing your projects, because then you just put out bad films no one's happy with.